Welcome, welcome to this. I have a horrible feeling this is getting echoes again. Now, this was okay when I came in earlier this evening, which suggests something in the area which is causing a problem. And off completely.
Chairman, could I also ask if any members who've got their laptops on, they've got their speakers live, could you turn those speakers off just in case that's a cause of interference as well?
Not guilty. No, still getting feedback. Well, it was all right earlier. No, still. Is that better? Yes. Is it? Sounds a bit tinny to me. No, that's not better. I think what we will do is just we'll get this sorted before we go further. It's not fair on either people in here. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're now back and hopefully working, and people are hearing this fine. Welcome to this meeting of Braintree District Council. As far as usual housekeeping, in the event of a fire, we will fire an alarm. We will use the notify I'm still getting an echo. Well, let me press on very quickly. Just see there's a problem with this to. Okay, so apologies for absence. And apologies for Councillor Kurdish. Are there any other apologies? No. Thank you. Item 2, declaration. Is there any members who have any declarations of interest which they wish to declare this evening, please? Okay, that takes us to item 3 of the previous meeting, which was held on 22nd of January. The have been circulated on those happy with our standards. Okay, thank you. Item 4, question time. There are no items who are tonight. That is on to item 5, the Council Budget and Council Tax 24-25, and Medium Term Financial Strategy 24-25 to 27-28. Before we start, for anyone who is watching, I just want to assure you that tonight is not the start of the budget discussions and the process that has been followed. So you don't think we're treating this in a rather swift manner. We consider us actually working for the year. In November, we had a meeting with the Corporate Scrutiny Committee with our first thoughts about budget, gave an opportunity for all members, both those on the committee and those not, to ask questions and put forward suggestions. And last, I'm going to say last Wednesday, we had a paper that was similar to that. Was a paper that also went to that committee. So it has been a number of times we have discussed this, and will go the recommendation of tonight's meeting will go to the council with an opportunity for members to move any amendments, etc., that they might wish or make any comments about the budget. We're going to deal with the council. I will do a short synopsis of it, but so I'm going to hand over to Councillor Harris because I think there's also some information to say. So for that, we'll do that, James. If the sorry, you I'm not going to yeah. They're all doing.
Hello? Hello? Yep, okay. Yep, okay. So we received earlier today then the details of the final local government finance settlement from government, and as was mentioned at the Corporate Scrutiny Committee, we did think that following the recent announcement of government for more money for councils, that we would receive some extra funding. So the settlement today does confirm that we are due to receive an additional £173,000 of grant funding, and that's made up of three elements really: Rural Services Delivery Grant, which is an extra £4,000 from what we were originally allocated. some extra services grant, £2,000, which some of that was held back by government in the original provisional settlement to reflect any changes that may be made in the intervening period. And extra funding guarantee. So the funding guarantee was increased from 3% to 4%. So that's given us an extra £167,000. So that's on top of what we were originally included in the budget proposals. The government have said that the additional funding must be sort of effectively applied to budgets and not just added to reserves. So we will need to consider how this increased funding is addressed when we bring the final budget to full council in a couple of weeks' time. Other than that, everything else was the same. New homes bonus, just over £1.2 million allocation, and the council tax referendum limit of less than £3 or less than 3% or £5 will still apply. What it does mean is then the core spending power for Braintree has increased year on year in cash terms by 5.9%, but that doesn't assume that we use the maximum flexibility allowed under the referendum principles. And just for note, the national average is 7.5%, so district councils were still receiving a lower increase in core spending than other tiers of authority. They have also confirmed as well that there will be an expectation that local authorities will produce a productivity plan, and those plans will need to be produced by July of this year, agreed by leaders and members, and published on websites with progress updates provided. And they've set out 4 areas that they're expecting these plans to cover: transformation of services, the opportunities around taking advantage of advances in technology, how authorities will look to reduce what they consider wasteful spending, and also how barriers preventing activity that government can help to reduce or remove. And alongside those proposals, the government is setting up a new expert panel to help guide that process, and that will include the Office for Local Government and the Local Government Association as well.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bowers.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Phil, for that. I really appreciate it. Just to go on to the report tonight, I'll just give you a little bit of an introduction that from the agenda, and just go through some headline numbers and that ahead of the decision tonight. Since the full council agreed the budget for 23-24, global events in a post-pandemic world continues to make it a challenging and difficult economic backdrop for our 24-25 budget, with greater uncertainty, volatility and risk. Residents and businesses continue to be affected by persistent inflation and high interest rates impacting on household budgets for essential items such as food, heating, mortgages and rents. Businesses are facing increased costs and investment is difficult with high borrowing costs. The council faces its own cost pressures due to higher pay costs, inflation and demand for services. Decisions on capital investment need to be weighed against the backdrop of higher borrowing costs. Sound financial management and a prudent approach has meant that the council is in a better position than many councils. Nevertheless, whilst the budget for 24-25 has been balanced, and a budget gap remains over the medium term, which will only be addressed by continuing to look at better ways of delivering services and ensuring that finite resources are focused on the priorities which are seen as important to residents and businesses. In 23-24, the council committed to a 2-year programme of support, investing £1 million to work with partners in supporting residents during the cost of living crisis. 24-25 will also see further investment of over £1 million into communities and businesses through our plans for spending the shared prosperity and rural England prosperity allocated funding. As we mentioned earlier tonight at the start of the meeting, there's been a number of meetings and engagement through the budget setting process already we've had the Performance Management Scrutiny Committee on the 22nd of November and then last week on the 31st of January. And we've sought residents' views on the priorities and budget decisions as part of our consultation for developing a new corporate strategy. Business newsletter and Braintree District Business Facebook has been used, press releases, website news page, social media, and there's been staff briefings. In regards, on top of what I was mentioning just now in regards to the cost of living support and the 2-year and the rural and shared prosperity funding, a new council tax scheme has been agreed by full council in December, which will distribute around 7.8 million of council tax support to low-income households of both pension and working age, and an extra 50,000 for the Exceptional Hardship Fund. And we will also be providing 178,000 of financial aid to those in need with housing-related costs through the DHP Fund. In regards to investing in our services, pay and general inflation and other cost pressures and economic impacts on existing services adds to £2 million to our spend for 24-25. We have prioritised 285,000 of extra funding to ensure that as an organisation we have the right level of resources in place and can attract and retain the best staff in a highly competitive job market to manage and deliver our services. Funding for extra resources into our customer care service centre to be able to respond to customer calls and inquiries. We are continuing with the Council Community Grant Scheme that gives every councillor £1,250 to use to help community projects. And as the leader mentioned the other night, that has been carried over from this year as well, that the unspent money has been carried over to the next year as well. In regards to investing in our services, also an additional 200,000 has been allocated to fund climate change initiatives, topping up the previous 624,000, which is already delivering against our action plan. And we will retain the current budget for the Street Scene Partnership, which provides 89,000 to parish councils to help keep local areas looking clean, tidy and well maintained. Regards balancing our budget, new savings and additional income of 296,000 have been reflected with no impact on frontline services. Interest and dividends from investing in balances and reserves are expected to generate an extra 840,000 income in 24-25, which is total 2.1 million. Garden waste subscription services exceeded expectations for 500,000 of income in the first year and an additional 400,000 by 25-26. Over a 3-year period, the new service is projected to break even against its direct operating costs. Discretionary fees and charges have been reviewed and proposed increases reflect cost of services, comparative data, statutory limitations and service needs. No changes to car parking charges are proposed for 24-25. And in relation to the budget or the council tax, we are recommending a council tax rate for Braintree's share of the overall bill of £200 and 7p for a Band D property, which will be 11p extra per week. We expect to continue to have one of the lowest council tax rates in Essex and still below the Shire district average. I think that's all I've got to say as an introduction to the report tonight, Chairman, aside from if I cast members' eyes to pages 2 and 3 of tonight's report and all the recommendations that are set out in section 2. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Bowers. Any comments or questions from colleagues? Just before we go, clearly we will need to have before full council on the 19th a statement as to how we will use the additional resources today. And I think if we can also get some time scale or process for how we're going to produce the productivity report as well, because I think I heard you say, Phil, that it had to be approved by leaders and members as well. So I assume that means it must go to a full council meeting. So we'll need to programme that in. So it would be useful. And to the group leaders, we'll endeavour to get that to you as soon as possible. So you've got it well ahead. Well, it's only a fortnight tonight that full council is, but we'll endeavour to get it to you as soon as we possibly can. Okay. Right. Any other comments or questions at all? No? Oh, yes. Sorry. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Bowers, I know you said it in your speech, but just to confirm that we are still going to be one of the lowest council tax increases in Essex. We're, I think, below one of the lowest Shire authorities, and there's no cuts to public frontline services. Is that correct? Is that what you said in terms of services as well?
Yes, Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Yes, just on your points, there's no cut to any of our services. In regards to the council tax, though at this stage I don't know the ins and outs of every council in Essex. The expectation is still that we are at the moment the fourth lowest in Essex, with everyone doing what they do with their own council tax in the budget setting process. The expectation I would expect we will be around about the same position still.
Brilliant. Great achievement.
Any other comments or questions at all? No. Councillor Beavis, Jeffries, Pell, anything? No? Okay. Right. Then we have before us tonight the recommendations which Councillor Bowers has moved. Paragraph 2. There are a number of resolutions there regarding all different parts of the budget, and they go on also on to page 3. And also includes the council tax. 2.2, Cabinet agrees to delegate authority to the Cabinet member for resources and performance to agree requests for underspent budgets to be carried forward, although we have already agreed that as far as the councillor grant scheme is concerned, that will happen. And so those are the recommendations, but we will also note that it's the intention to provide to all members, as soon as is practicable, the result of what the government has announced today, the extra funding for that, and also how we will go about producing the productivity report, which is also going to be required by, did you say July, was it? By July. So we will do that, and obviously we'll need to read exactly what is required in that respect. So it's been moved. Is it formally seconded? Yes, second. Thank you. All those in favour? Agreed. Thank you very much indeed. And that brings us to the end. There are no other matters on the agenda. And so thank you to Councillor Bowers and also to Phil and his team for the work that they have done over the many months that we've been working on it. I know for anyone watching this, they think, well, hang on, 20 minutes and they've done it all. But actually, the blood and the sweat and the tears have gone on well before that. Councillor Mrs. Pell.
The fact it is an important subject, they may wonder why we haven't voted. Thank you.
Yes, I should have pointed out that under the regulations, the only members who can vote are the members of Cabinet. So you will have seen that some members did not vote. As Councillor Pell says, Councillor Pell, Councillor Jeffries, Councillor Beavis are the leaders of the other groups that are on the council and who we invite to Cabinet, and they participate, etc., but they do not have a vote. And similarly, behind on the right-hand side are the deputy Cabinet members who again do not have a vote. So only those full Cabinet members can vote. And so whatever was done this evening is in accordance with what we do. When it gets to full council, of course, every member will have a vote and be able to express a view on the budget that's presented. Okay, thank you, Councillor Pell. So if there's nothing else, I will declare the meeting closed at 7:30. Sorry, yes, 7:39. Thank you very much indeed.